Kids, did you like all the stories? What I told? Hope you have liked it. Do subscribe to my channel to watch all my upcoming videos. Until then, take care. Bye bye. The Hare and the Tortoise. Long ago and far away, where animals could talk and trees could sing, there lived a hare and a tortoise. Hare was young and handsome and loved to race about the countryside. He had many admirers and would love showing off and poking fun at Tortoise. Tortoise was always too busy to notice napping in the sunshine or reading a book. One day, as Tortoise munched on his favorite flowers, Hare jumped out and surprised him. Tortoise, look at you. You are old and slow, and all you do is eat and sleep. Look at me. I am fast and handsome, and I can be anywhere I want in almost no time at all. Tortoise slowly looked up. He gave Hare the biggest smile he had and said, "Let's have a race then. All around the village and back here by this patch of buttercups." Hare almost fell over. He was laughing so hard. But when he looked at Tortoise, Tortoise looked very serious. This was no joke. "Let's do it," exclaimed Hare. The next day, a huge crowd gathered to watch. "On your marks, get set, go!" Hare sped off into the distance whilst Tortoise plodded along at his usual pace. Then, just before the finish line, under a shady oak tree, Hare decided to take a nap. He closed his eyes and fell into a peaceful sleep. He dreamed of winning medals and eating carrot cake. The sun began to set and Hare was still asleep. Tortoise silently walked past and made it to the finish line. Before he knew what was happening, a gigantic cheer could be heard, waking Hare up. He raced to the finish, where he was just in time to see Tortoise receive his winning medal. From that day on, Hare never showed off again. The Lion and the Mouse. The jungle was quiet. It was time for all the animals to take their afternoon nap. Lion lay down and stretched out his powerful paws. He yawned loudly and soon fell into a deep and happy sleep. Mouse, on the other hand, was a restless creature. She never slept in the afternoons. She would spend her time looking for nuts and berries or chasing butterflies. As Mouse ran, she tripped and fell. She landed right on top sleeping Lion's paws. Lion awoke with a start, and when he saw Mouse, he roared his most terrifying roar. "How dare you disturb me? I will eat you up, you silly creature." Quickly, she nibbled through the ropes and managed to free the lion. The lion was extremely thankful to the mouse and learned that even a tiny mouse can help a mighty lion. The Fox and the Crow. One sunny day, Crow was out for her usual morning flight. She searched long and hard for scraps and leftovers until she found the perfect piece of cheese for breakfast. With the cheese held tightly in her beak, she flew up to the highest branch of her favorite apple tree. Just as Crow was about to take her first bite of the cheese, Fox came along. He smiled at Crow and she immediately became suspicious. She held on even tighter to her treasure. Fox then sat down with his back to the tree and began to talk to himself. Look at Crow. She is so perfect. Her feathers are so shiny and black, just like the night sky. I imagine when she sings, her voice sounds like the stars. As they sparkle, if I could just hear a voice. The Stork and the Fox. One morning in the great forest, Fox was feeling very bored. He decided to play a trick on his neighbor, the Stork. Dear Stork, would you like to join me for a delicious meal at my house tonight? Fox asked eagerly. Why, that's very kind of you, Fox. Of course I shall come. Later that evening, Fox laid out 2 shallow bowls of delicious smelling soup. He placed one bowl in front of the Stork and invited her to begin her meal. Stork could only wet the tips of her beak while she hungrily watched Fox as he lapped up his own soup with great enjoyment and ease. Stork did not say a word. Although she was very unhappy at the trick, she only smiled and thanked Fox for a wonderful evening and then invited Fox for a meal at her own home. To repay him for his kindness, Fox agreed, happy that his trick had worked so well. The next day, Fox arrived at Stork's house. He was hungry and was looking forward to a tasty lunch. Stork gave Fox a tall, narrow jar. Inside were tender pieces of smoked fish. The neck of the jar was too narrow to Fox not to fit. He could only watch on as Stork easily lifted out the fish pieces with her long, thin beak. Fox was very angry, but he understood what Stork had done. He could never play such tricks on his neighbors again. The Eagle and the Jackdaw. There once was a shepherd who lived in a beautiful green valley. All day long his lambs and sheep grazed happily and grew fat with the fresh grass and beautiful sunshine. One day an eagle swooped down and carried off a lamb in its powerful talons. In the meantime, a jackdaw sat watching from a nearby tree. I could do that, he thought to himself. He drew himself up to his full height and flew into the sky. He circled and swooped just as he had seen the eagle do, and then he dived faster and faster towards the biggest sheep he could find. The shepherd who was watching ran and caught the jackdaw. He clipped the bird's wings immediately so it could not fly away and gave it to his children to keep it as a pet. What do we call this bird? Papa, it cannot fly as the children. This is called a jackdaw, said the shepherd, but it thought itself to be an eagle. The Fox and the Grapes. Fox was out looking for a tasty snack. After his rather delicious meal of chicken pie, he decided he would like some fruit and just then spotted a vine high up in the branches of a tree. The vine hung with the most delicious looking grapes he had ever seen. They were plump and red and looked so juicy that they made his mouth water. Fox sat under the tree trying to sit off a way to get all the grapes. When he thought of a brilliant plan, he would jump up and snatch the grapes in his mouth. Fox took a step back, he ran, and then he leaped into the air. He opened his mouth wide and then fell to the ground without any grapes. Not to worry, he told himself. I'll just try again. This time I'll take 2 steps back. Fox took 2 steps back, he ran, and then he leaped into the air. He opened his mouth wide and then fell to the ground without any grapes. Not to worry, he told himself. This time I am sure to get them. I just need to take 3 steps back. Fox took 3 steps back. He ran and then he leaped into the air. He opened his mouth wide and then fell to the ground without any grapes. Poor Mr. Fox leaned up against the tree, panting. He was feeling very disappointed. He licked his paws and wiped his snout. Why should I spend my energy on grapes that are sure to be sour? What a waste of time, he said, and then walked away. The bundle of sticks. Once in a village far away there lived an old man with 7 sons. All day long the boys quarreled and fought over even the smallest of the matters. Goodness me, it's hot, said the eldest son. Don't be silly, it's just right, said the youngest. You both are blockheads, said another son. There is a terrible storm about to arrive. One on one they would argue, driving their poor father mad. One day their father decided to teach them a lesson. He ordered all his sons to pick up 5 sticks each from the courtyard and bring them to him. He gave each of his sons one of the sticks and asked them to break it. They did this easily and looked at each other in confusion. Perhaps father has gone mad, whispered one of the sons. Their father then bundled up all the remaining sticks and tied them with strong string. He asked all his sons to try and break the bundle. Not one of his sons was successful. See, if you stand alone, divided, you will be no stronger than a single stick. If you work together and help each other, then no one will be able to injure you. The Mice and the Cat. Once in an old mill, a miller lived with his faithful, trusty cat. The cat was a ferocious hunter, and every night she would catch at least one mouse and present it to her master, the miller. The community of mice who lived in the mill suffered greatly at the hands of the cat and decided to hold a meeting to decide what could be done. There were many suggestions, but all seemed dangerous and impractical. Suddenly, one of the youngest mice stood up and called for everyone's attention. I have a brilliant plan, he began. It's quite simple, but it will be very effective. Tell us, shouted the other mice. The young mouse's tail quivered with excitement. His whiskers twitched with glee. He believed his plan was truly amazing. Let's tie a bell around the cat's neck. That way we can all hear when he is coming. What a wonderful idea! Rose the cries from around the room. Everyone applauded. Two of the biggest mice lifted the young mouse up onto their shoulders and paraded him around the room. As cheers were sounded around the hall, just then wise old mouse stood up. He banged his walking stick on the floorboards, and everyone stopped to listen to him. Tell me, young mouse, who will tie the bell around our enemy's neck? The young mouse was placed back down on the floor, and all the mice agreed that they would have to think of another plan.